All right, what's up, my friends? Welcome to Set Review. Big ups to my new assistant Ryan on that intro. That intro bangs, right? Really, really cool. So, complete set review for Spider-Man and through the Omenpaths. 2 sets for the price of 1. Right, Karn? And going through all the sets here, constructed and limited, going over all the cards. We'll be seeing both the regular card as well as the Omenpath card. A lot of work went into that, so please like, comment, subscribe, support the content if you enjoyed the show, because that was not a small feat, honestly. So, going over all the cards, giving out all our rewards as usual. Remind you all that Bronze the Mythic for Spider-Man will be premiering on Tuesday, December 23rd at 8 p.m. Of course, through the Omenpaths version on Arena, as we learn the draft format. We haven't actually gotten word yet if it is going to be pick 2 draft or regular draft. We'll find that out at some point soon, hopefully. But yeah, so let's jump right in. Again, like, comment, subscribe, support the content, and let's just roll right in with Blue. Blue for our set review. Amazing Acrobatics. We got our cancel variant. They meant it for an instant, counter a spell, or tap 1 or 2 target creatures. Pretty much limited filler, honestly. Cancel is okay in some limited formats, but usually not great. And having a little modality on your cancel is pretty cool. A cancel that can kind of like tap some creatures to win the game, which is kind of nice. But yeah, most part, this is limited filler, not very exciting. And in limited, you'll see Drick's Interception. But for the most part, this card probably shouldn't make your draft deck unless the format shakes out in a certain way. And in constructed, there are many better cancel variants. So next up is Beetle, Legacy Criminal. 4 mana for a 3/3 flying common. Again, there are legendary commons in this set, which is going to make limited a little weird. But this one's really, really cool because it has a graveyard ability. So 3/3 flyer for 4. 2 mana to exile this card from your graveyard to put a counter on a creature and it gains flying to end of turn, only as a sorcery. Connive is a major mechanic in this set for the villains. Connive is the mechanic from New Capenna, where you draw and then discard, and if you discard a spell, you put a counter on a thing that connived. So these sort of graveyard effects look like they'll be really, really good and limited. In fact, you can just cast this card for the front side or discard it for the back side is cool. Probably not playable. I think there are some cards that have the graveyard theming that can be playable constructed, but for limited, we've got Arala. Damn it.
You're saying it wrong.
Hedron Scalar, which is of course the on arena version. And again, I think it's gonna be a pretty good limited card. They got a card that you definitely want to discard for value, not necessarily cast, but it's totally fine to cast too. So cool limited card, good stuff. I like it. Chameleon, Master of Disguise. This is the Spider-Man villain I have never heard of before. So 4 mana for a 2/3, enters as a copy of a creature you control, but the name is still Master of Disguise, and has the new Mayhem mechanic, which is very similar to Madness. So Mayhem means Mayhem cost. You may cast this card from your graveyard for the cost if you discarded it this turn, noting that timing rules still applies. This is different from Madness in 2 reasons. 1, Madness, you had to cast the card the moment you discarded it. And 2, Madness also overrode the timing restrictions. So you could cast the creature on your opponent's turn if you discarded it. This kind of cleans up both of those. So discard the card. You may cast it at some point later in return for its cost. The timing rules apply. Mayhem's pretty powerful. Madness is a very, very powerful mechanic where if you're discarding a card as a downside to get a benefit, and then using that to also get the card back, it's almost like draw a card, which is pretty sweet. So that being said, clones that copy your own creatures usually aren't great. Noting that the name being different here does circumvent the legend rule, which is kind of cool. But yeah, so interesting card. Clearly not playable constructed, but I think just like an okay limited card. But yeah, and then in limited on it'll be Vazin, Two-Face Trickster. Again, I think like a fringe limited card, not too much more. Maybe some commander deck might want this. It does like weird madness stuff, but the Clone Saga. This is the blue saga. It's a rare saga in every color. This is a 4 mana enchantment saga. Chapter 1, Surveil 3. Chapter 2, when you cast your next creature spell this turn, copy it, but the copy isn't legendary. And then Chapter 3, choose a card name. Whenever a creature with the name deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. This card's kind of gas, actually. I like its design a lot. It's definitely a card where it's probably not playable constructed. 4 mana, do nothing on the turn you cast it. It's kind of a non-starter. But in limited, where it's lost in Lajara, and I do love Kaldheim, play this thing, set up next turn a little bit, then you get to play 2 big creatures the following turn, and then maybe draw a card or 2 of a turn after. The turn you cast it is a little bit rough, but you gain a lot of value on turn 5. You cast some big 5-drop and get 2 of them. That's a big, big value, kind of like a down payment on a big creature, which is cool. So it's a little finicky. It's a little weird. I think it's a fun limited card, though, and it does some cool stuff. And then in limited, of course, because it's such a small set, you're likely to have multiples of certain cards. So if you have a creature in play this, play another copy of that creature to get another version of that creature in play, and then they all draw cards when they attack. It's pretty sweet. But yeah, the floor here is reasonable. It definitely has a pretty, I don't know, the floor is iffy at times, but ceiling's pretty good. Pretty fun limited card. Not too much more. Doc Ock, Sinister Scientist, another common legend. 5 mana for a 4/5. At least it's costing 5 mana. You're not likely to want too many of these in your deck. But 5 mana for a 4/5. As long as there are 8 or more cards in your graveyard, Doc Ock has base power up as 8/8. And if you control a villain, Doc Ock is hexproof. I'm kind of surprised this card's a common, honestly.
Inconceivable.
Feels like it'd be a pretty sweet, uncommon finisher in a limited control deck, where it'll be Azor Chronicler of Collapse. Kind of a cool finisher, honestly, where if you're conniving and you're doing the thing that these colors wants to do, which is discarding cards, playing removal spells, kind of just, churning through your deck. An 8/8 for 5 is obviously great. And then there are a ton of villains in black and blue. Having another villain isn't that hard either. And an 8/8 hexproof,
Good Lord.
it's pretty big, so I don't think you want to have a ton of these in your deck. This seems like a very, very nice finisher for your draft deck if you are drafting villains and or graveyard stuff. Doc Ock's Henchman, speaking of villains and graveyard stuff. 2 mana for a 2/1 flash. Whenever it attacks, it connives. So some nice cross synergy here, where the blue-white archetype, noting again that there are only 5 signpost archetypes in this set, 1 for each allied color pair, being a small set. The blue-white color pair in limited cares about +1/+1 counters, and the blue-black archetype cares about discarding stuff. So this kind of fills that role of both, being Obscura Alley Lurkers on Arena in the through the Omenpaths set, where you get to flash it in, attack with it, draw, discard. Maybe it's a 3/2. The stat line's a little weak, honestly. A 2/1 flash that maybe is a 3/2 with some work is not ideal, but does a lot of things your draft deck's going to want to do if you are these colors. So certainly a synergy card, not a high pick at all, but a card that could make your draft deck. Flying Octobot, 2 mana for a 1/1 flyer, robot villain, artifact creature. Whenever another villain you control enters, put a counter on this creature only once a turn. Again, there are a lot of villains in the set. Seems like a fine draft card. Definitely not good enough to constructed. This will require you to play multiple villains to even be close to being on rate. There's no inherent artifact synergy in villains. But for limited, this card's good, where it is Vexed Bots. And playing out of villains, play this on curve, 2/2, 3/3, 4/4. Pretty nice. So fine limited card. Again, not really much benefit here for being an artifact. And then the counters can work also with your blue-white cards too. Hide on the Ceiling.
It's a trap.
This is the kind of card that players like a lot that I think is not really great. Blue and X for an instant. Exile X target artifacts and or creatures, and then return them all at the next end step. So folks have, delusions of grandeur here, thinking about, I'm going to blink all my stuff and get it all back in and get tons of triggers and do all sorts of crazy things. That's a kind of a bit of a pipe dream, I think, where yes, that can happen, but you're probably already pretty ahead at that point. And this can only exile artifacts and creatures if this was permanents, right? If it was also enchantments, maybe lands, something like that, where you could really maximize your triggers. Maybe, but still, feels like a win more card. Think of a card like Ghostly Flicker, which is like 3 mana blink 2 things. Cards like that are often just not really very exciting. There's a lot of enchantment cards like, Momentum Breaker, not Hopeless Nightmare, but a lot of enchantments from Duskborn and stuff where that'd be really, really cool. I think this card's going to excite some folks, not be super exciting. It is Spectral Restitching on Arena. And limited, this card is also pretty unexciting. Blinking. How many things do you actually blink with this card? So feels like mostly a commander card, where in commander you have time to set up some crazy board state where you really want that overkill. But in limited and constructed, I don't think this card's particularly exciting. So we're going to move on. I thought also that was a trap card too. It's a trap card. There we go. Next up is Hydro-Man Fluid Felon. Our sleeper card. I gotta say, this is probably my favorite design in the entire set. Blue for 2/2, legendary elemental villain. Whenever you cast a blue spell, if it's a creature, gets +1/+1 to end of turn. Fine. So 2/2 for 2, a little bit of upside. The really cool part here, though, is at the beginning of your end step, untap this, and on your opponent's turn, it's just a freaking island. Not a creature, an island, does not have summoning sickness, so it can help you cast cards on your opponent's turn. It's effectively mono blue ramp on your opponent's turn. So if you have like a 4-mana card draw spell, play this on turn 2, turn 3 attack for 2 and say go, and then play a 4-mana spell. Awesome. Really, really cool. Kind of weird because control decks don't want to play 2/2s for 2 usually, but I don't know what this card will exactly do. Maybe in a tempo deck could be really, really cool. Imagine you're playing a tempo game. You play this thing, untap, cast a null or something like that. A little hard to cast at blue. Does want you to play a lot of blue spells. It's really that big either, but the design of this card is like out of this world. I think really, really cool. A card I'm very excited to play with. On Arena, it'll be Belian the Parched. Drinky. But yeah, I think this card's awesome. My sleeper pick for blue. Really, really cool card. Definitely worse in limited, where it's harder to cast and you're not really, able to maximize the instant speed aspect of the card as much, but really cool card for constructed. In my opinion, the coolest design in the entire set.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
That man's an imposter. That man is the imposter.
Right. All right, so yeah. It's the meme. Look. That's the meme you see on television.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome. They did the thing, folks. They did the thing. 6 mana for enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature you control deals combat damage to a player, make a token that's a copy of it, but it isn't legendary. This is a pretty powerful effect, but clearly I'll win more card. This is a 6 mana enchantment that does nothing unless you have a successful attacking creature. And even then it's like, this is not even that good. Fun card. Fun commander card. Fun big time over the top card. In limited, I probably a little too much, but it's a fun card. It's cool. This is the arena version. Same name. A little more tempered art, if you will. But yeah, fun card, pretty cool. Would not put this card in your deck if you're interested in winning that many games of Magic the Gathering. Lady Octopus is next. Another card character I had no idea existed. 1 blue for an 0/2. Whenever you draw your first or second card each turn, put an ingenuity counter on Lady Octopus. Then you may tap this to cast an artifact spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the number of ingenuity counters on this without paying its cost. This is the kind of card where it's like, you see this card, you think, oh man, this card's gonna be busted in like older formats. It's important to note that this card, you are casting the card. So it does not bypass counter spells and stuff like that too. So I think that that cast part makes it less exciting in older formats where it could have been pretty cool. It's not crazy to be able to draw 2 cards a turn. So like if this is, on turn 2, you put in a 2-drop, on turn 3, you put in a 4-drop, kind of cool. So the kind of card where it's so cheap, you need to be aware of it. I don't think this is a card that you can play in standard really. And the cast part, yeah, it does take cards like Lotus Bloom off the menu, which would have been huge in Modern. I think if this card could cast Lotus Bloom, it would have been a big deal in Modern. But yeah, so pretty cool card. On Arena, she is Merida, Neuron Hacker. Don't know what plane that's from, but yeah. I think this card's pretty powerful, but I don't know what deck would want this card. And then Limited, I would not put this card in your deck under any circumstances. So kind of cool. Fun build around. Maybe cool Commander. Madam Web, Clairvoyant. This movie did well, right? 6 mana for a 4/4. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast spiders and non-creature spells top of your library. And then whenever you attack, you may mill a card. This card is like insane in Limited. At Future Sight, they can cast spiders or spells. So most of the spells in your deck is awesome. Can't play lands, but you can attack and like mill if you have a land on top too. This is a really powerful Limited card. If you are like, doing the control thing, play this thing, untap with it, you're in great shape. But yeah, Constructed, clearly not. In Arena, it is Ulk's mouth to many eyes. That's horrifying. Love it. Creepy stuff. But yeah, great limited card, really, really fun. A good limited card for controlling deck. You gotta play it in the right deck, but seems kind of nice. Then we come to Mysterio, Master of Illusion. 4 mana for a 3/3. When it enters, make a 3/3 blue illusion villain token for each non-token villain you control. And then exile those 2 tokens and Mysterio leaves the battlefield. Reminds me a little bit of, what's the golem from Mirrodin, whatever, where it can make some 3/3s, but if you kill it, they all go away. I think this card has, it's a really, really cool design. The idea of putting in like temporary 3/3s that are locked to this, precursor golem, thank you, chat, is cool. But requiring villains is kind of tough too. And like the cool thing about Precursor Golem is it's an army by itself. It's like an army in a can. This requires other things to make it happen. And they can still just kill this and they go away. So Constructed, not really a chance, I don't think. It's a cool limited card where it's the Watcher on the Road, which is also really cool. Really fun limited card. Not Constructed, but pretty cool. Mysterio's Phantasm is next. This is a 2 mana for a 1/3 Flying Vigilance. Never attacks mill card. Purely a limited card where you'll see it as Phantasmal Vision. Not a bad way to fill up your graveyard for all sorts of graveyard shenanigans, which is kind of cool. It wears counters well. There are a number of cards in the graveyard, like the card we saw early on, where you can add counters in the graveyard, and it wears them pretty well. So good limited enabler for your graveyard decks. Wears counters well. Just fine limited card. The Oscorp Research Team. 4 mana for a 1/5, 7 mana draw 2. Again, limited card. If you're drafting a control deck, this card is certainly passable, if pretty unexciting. Pinnacle Research Team on Arena. Robotics Mastery is a banger limited card, where it's also called Robotics Mastery. 5 mana aura with Flash. Gives +2/+2, flying, and makes 2 robots. Sorry, it's not good flying. +2/+2 and then makes 2 robots. Kind of similar to, what's that card called? 5 mana, makes a knight, whatever, where it's like this expensive enchantment that buys you back immediately. And then having Flash as a combat trick is pretty sweet too. So cool limited card, nice little top end for your aggro deck. It's also modified for your modified deck, which is sweet. Card's cool. Good draft card, like it a lot. Robotics Mastery, Knightly Valor, something like that, yeah. School Days. This is my chance to say screw y'all. I'm giving this card best in show. It is clearly not the best blue card in the set. I just don't care. All right. This is my set review, and I gotta make myself happy too. And I just absolutely adore this card. 5 mana for an instant. We get Jace's Ingenuity or Dismiss. 5 mana instant, draw 3, or counter a spell and draw a card. That's pretty nice. You know, it's the crux, right? Where you say go. Do you have a counter spell or a card draw spell? Why not both, right? Why not both? That sounds great to me.
I'm in control here.
So I just like this card a lot. On Arena, it's going to be Outsmart the Amateur, even though I am the amateur here. But I don't care. I like this card. I'm going to do what I do. It's my television show, and I'll do what I want to. Do what I want to. Do what I want to. You'd pick this card too if you were me.
That's it. I'm going to clown college.
But yeah, cool card. I like it a lot. Yeah, and then limited this card's pretty good. You know, but yeah. Drago, sign me up. Secret Identity. This is a card that is pretty divisive. We had some pretty big arguments at Riot Games over the week. Patrick Sullivan, Frank, and all the other Magic folks who were there about the art on this card. The art on this card, if you're an old school Magic player, is a homage to the card Unmask, which is a old school Mercadian Masks card, great legacy card. Also illustrated by RK Post. And the joke here is that it's Unmask. I am personally not a fan because it has nothing to do with the card Unmask at all in any way. It just feels, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, flavor-wise, yes, but this card is just a random weird blue instant. I have no idea. I don't know, folks. That's how I feel. People like it. They like it. It's great. I'm not going to duck anybody's yum. But while I'm at it for an instant, choose one. Conceal or reveal. It's a make a creature into a 1/1 with hexproof. So it's a protection spell. Or it's a pump spell. It turns a creature into a 3/4 flying vigilance. So kind of a cool little card where it's kind of a combat trick and a protection spell. If there was some sort of weird like mono blue like tempo deck, I could see this card like maybe seeing playing Constructed, but probably not. More so just a cool limited card. Pretty fun stuff here. A little otter saving an otter. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so save a creature from a kill spell, or it's a pump spell. Cool trick, good limited card. Probably, I mean, it might cross over Constructed, honestly, protect your VB or whatever. But yeah, cool card. Yeah, I don't know. Art doesn't work for me. It is what it is. Spider Bite, Web Warden, 3 mana for a 2/2, uncommon, ETB, bounce something. Yeah, Mana War is a fine limited card. Doesn't feel particularly legendary, but, what do I know, right? So, fine limited card. Does play well with the web-slinging effect, as most ETB effects do, where you can attack with it and then bounce it and do it again, which is cool. But yeah, more of a limited card, so we'll see. Tidal Spinner. 3 mana for a 2/2, same card, obviously. So, cool limited card, plays well web-slinging. Not much else otherwise as far as Constructed goes, but, Spider-Man no more. He's given up. 2 mana for an enchantment aura. Makes a citizen with base power of his 1/1. Has defender and loses all abilities. This is a 2 mana version of... I forget the name of the card. Legitimate business person, maybe? Is that what it is? Which was a card that saw some play. This does give defender. Witness protection, sorry. This does give defender, which is a little bit above that. But it's not worth an extra mana, I don't think. So making this card basically a non-starter. Constructed. And limited is Hide in Mundanity. I think it's a fine limited card for sure. But it is, yeah. And yeah, what's the deal with the flavor here, right? This is not Spider-Man losing his powers. This is him just walking away from his suit. So, bit of a flavor fail. Whatever. Spider Sense, spend it for an instant, web-slinging 1. This is the only non-web-slinging creature, I believe, where you can return a creature that's tapped to cast for 1. Counters an instant, a sorcery, or a triggered ability. Could be cute for, like, some sort of aggressive blue deck to counter 1 mana, counter a Wrath or something like that, which is, like, kind of cool. But yeah, one of the weirder cards in the set. Just weird. Honestly, just a weird card. Yeah, Legacy, you're countering, I guess it can't counter a fetch land, actually, which is also kind of weird, but whatever, sure. But yeah, weird little counter spell. I imagine Negate is just better, or Spell Pierce is just better most of the time, because bouncing your own creature is a pretty huge cost. But on Arena, it'll be Detect Intrusion. Same as that card. But yeah, interesting card, kind of weird. Unstable Experiment. Folks, this is our Bombin Common, all right? This card bangs. So again, in blue, in limited, blue, black, and stuff, all about conniving, discarding cards, filling the graveyard. This is a 2 mana cantrip that allows a creature to connive. It's basically just 2 mana, draw 2, discard 1, put a counter on a creature. That's awesome. With a buyout of just draw a card. Card's great. Really, really good limited card. Putting cards in the graveyard, putting counters on things. The kind of card you play as many of as you can get. I think this card is like a glue kind of card, kind of like Cryogen Relic in the last set, where it's just going to hold together stuff. It's even an instant, so it's a combat trick. Oh, yeah. What can't this card do, right? And in limited, you'll see it as Unstable Experiment as well, with some slightly different art. But yeah, absolute banger limited card. I would not be surprised if this is the highest winning common in the set for blue when the data comes out, because this card is awesome. Constructed, probably not. Whoosh. Into the Royal. 2 mana for an instant, bounce an online permanent, kick it and draw a card. Limited filler. It's an okay card. And limited, it's not super exciting. Cool art here from Kamigawa. That's kind of nice. But yeah, this is just we see this card a bunch of times before. We know what it is. Nothing too crazy here. Borderline playable Constructed if times are desperate. So to recap for blue, our best in show, which is definitely not our best in show. I just don't care, and I want to put point out the card that I like because it's my television show. Is School Daze. Sleeper card is Hydro Man. Our trap card is Hide on the Ceiling, and our Bombin Common is Unstable Experiments. That's blue. Black's coming up. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out 10 New Brews happening on the September 17th at 2 p.m. And I love you all. See you all in the next segment.